Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
Beat me if you can! Come on!
It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my good brother from within the ropes, is Bryan Tronic. How's it going, man?
It's going great, Huey. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It is Saturday night, finally. I was talking to you off the air before we hit the record button, how, man, the last 4 to 6 weeks, it's been pretty busy for me just because it's kind of the end of the summertime, and finally, all these concerts and tours and festivals are coming to the Bay Area. And so with my main job over at 107.7 The Bone, it was going to all these, festivals and stuff and doing it, quote, work. And I'm sure people are listening right now, rolling their eyeballs like, oh, tough job going to concerts and stuff. But there's been events and things at work going on. So my schedule's been all over the place, and just my recording schedule has been off a little bit the last few weeks. And so, what I'm getting at is my weekends have been pretty busy. And so I haven't had a chance to really record much on a Saturday night. So it's just nice. Today, I was just kind of being lazy. Mm-hmm. I caught up on my AEW Dynamite and just, like I said, just chill out and relax. And so, but it's nice to be able to talk to you.
You earned it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But it's nice, late night, Saturday night, hang out with my buddy, talk some pro wrestling, just have some fun, man. But no, how's everything going in your world?
Everything's great, man. Just doing the same thing, just trying to stay busy, covering some wrestling, and just the normal day-to-day things, being a husband, being a dad, that type of stuff.
Yeah, man. No, a lot of respect to you, man. I said over in the last couple episodes, I've been loving everything you've been doing, at least from Twitter, from a content standpoint, from Within the Ropes Twitter page, as far as, you're taking photos, making your personalized graphics and getting people interacting and sharing old school videos. I don't know why I watched it over and over, the Randy Orton, Seth Rollins RKO at WrestleMania 31, and just the RKO out of nowhere with Seth Rollins. And I mean, that got a bunch of thousands of views by the time I saw it.
Yeah.
Your thing got retweeted a bunch of times. That's amazing. It's amazing to me, a little clip like that, that we've all seen many times over the last 6+ years when it happened. Yeah. And it goes viral again, at least for you, right? I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. And that's one thing I like to do, at least within the ropes Twitter, is just keep start conversations, keep them going, kind of bring back old memories, and just bring the good out of wrestling. Twitter is what it's people like to call it, the wrestling community on Twitter. And there's a lot of toxicity on there, so I try to be as positive as I can and say, hey, you come here, you want to talk about wrestling, cool, we can talk about old things, and just have a good time, so I try to post things that I remember, and that make that moments in wrestling that made me go, oh my God, crazy cool things that make you look back and be like, man, I love wrestling.
That's the thing is Richard, who's also here in the Kliq, he runs Pro Wrestling 101 on Instagram, and he's got over 10,000, I forgot how many followers, just from reposting.
That's like 15K. I saw that the other day.
Because he just reposts his old videos and photos and rare photos, behind the scenes stuff, even photos we've seen many times before. He just reposts them.
Yeah.
And just people love seeing that stuff, the retro stuff. And I'm just always blown away. Like,
I love accounts like that. Shout out to Richard, man. He followed me and I was like, oh my God, I love accounts like this.
No,
I love it.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to talk about that, but yeah, as you know, last weekend, you and I and Tommy, we review Extreme Rules. And the thing was, in case you missed it, I've been slacking the last couple of weeks as far as recording stuff like right after the event happens. Because listen, we know pro wrestling, there's so much wrestling every single day in the week. And the top podcasts out there, they review within like 15, 30 minutes after the show is over, and then get it, they do like a live stream broadcast, and they put the podcast out right after. And so, that way it gives people time over the next 12, 24 hours to listen to those recaps. And so that's why I always feel kind of bad if I post a review that's like maybe 2-3 days after the fact. I'm like, a lot of those people probably already moved on. They're like, I already heard a review from someone else. So like Extreme Rules, I was like, I want to do a review right after the pay-per-view because it does have kind of a little bit of a short shelf life. And that's why, I made the joke. You and I and Tommy are the only ones who watch Extreme Rules. Philip was busy doing the play-by-play for Agua. Richard was down at Sofa Street Fair as well, just seeing his friends. And so, we did the review, the podcast. And so Richard was listening the next day with his job. He drives around and stuff. And so he was listening. He texted me, how great you sounded with me and stuff and Tommy. And he's like, you guys were awesome. And I said, well, thanks, man. And then he told me he sent you the message as well. And I was like, oh, that's really nice of you to do that. Like, I think it's always good to give like positive reinforcement and compliments and stuff. So
right. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
I enjoy being here. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that was cool. And like you said, that was very nice of Richard. Richard will be the first to say he can very much be S disturber, and he likes doing that stuff. But he definitely will. If he likes something, he'll be the first to let you know. So that was very cool on his part to do that. So. But yeah, it was fun. And so with that being said, so here we are back at it. So much to talk about. I want to get back to, talking everything AEW. So much has been going on, and I don't know about you. Like, I actually, you know what? I'll save my thought because if I go on this tangent, it will bleed into all the Dynamite discussion. I don't want to hold off on. I forgot we have a couple other things to get into first. So, first things first, I do want to talk about Dark Side of the Ring. I love the show, and for the last couple seasons, we've been reviewing pretty much every episode here on the podcast. And I haven't had a chance to talk about the second episode of this second half of this third season, which was about Chris Kanyon. We did the Plane Ride from Hell episode a couple weeks ago now. The Chris Kanyon episode, I was really interested to watch because that's someone I watched live in real time when his career was taking off. You as well. Yep. And I was kind of interested to know the full story, or at least Dark Side of the Ring's presentation of it. I should give that disclaimer. That is something I kind of know is people starting to be critical of Dark Side of the Ring is, keep in mind, these are the creators, their version of telling this story and how they're presenting it. And, talking to some people I know who know the source material as well. They're like, some things are a little bit off. And like, you know what I mean? Just don't watch this episode or watch a particular episode and think that is the truth and that's the only straight facts right there. Yeah. There's some missing elements. The Kanyon stuff, we'll get into the whole NWO's thing, that whole discussion. I was like, I watched it. I was like, that is awful. We'll get into that in a second. But I just want to give you kind of general, just quick takeaways. What you thought of this episode about Chris Kanyon?
I thought it was great. Definitely opened my eyes to a lot of, when I saw him, I knew I mean, at least to my knowledge, I was like, man, like, I mean, he was such a popular character. I loved him, but to know that he was so successful, even like behind the scenes, he was so loved and appreciated by so many. And even the relationship that he had with James Mitchell, like that was surprising. Like I knew that they had a friendship on screen, but then, off camera, to learn that they were that close.
Yeah.
Was surprising to me.
Yeah. It was, for me, growing up, you and I both growing up like during the whole Attitude Era, and I love, of course, WWE, but also love WCW. And I remember when Kanyon first debuted as the Mortis character, I thought it was just badass. And I'm glad Dark Side Ring said, yeah, these guys, him and Glacier, and also Wrath, yeah. I was gonna say Adam Bomb, or I mean, when he went to WCW, like these guys were all a play on Mortal Kombat, and I was big at the time by like 1996, and so it was cool seeing them, people or them explaining about these characters. It was just cool. Mortis, I loved his mask, keep in mind Kane came along. When did Kane debut again with WWE? Because I know it's Bad Blood. Actually, let me just look it up real quick, because I was kind of curious, because I was trying to remember what came first, Wrath or Kane. Let's see here. Okay, Bad Blood in Your House was October 1997. So was Mortis first then, technically?
I think so.
Let me look here. Shawn Michaels defeated Undertaker, Hell in a Cell match. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway.
It came right in time for Halloween.
That's right, October 5th, 1996. Oh, man. No, but it was just cool, this to kind of learn about his history and, how he really influenced a lot of people and just what happened to him life after wrestling, because I kind of know too much about that. What happened. I remember, I do remember when he passed away in 2010, which is very tragic and stuff, and we'll touch on that in a bit. But, from your perspective, what'd you think of him as like an in-ring performer? Because that was something they really heavily talked on this episode was, he was the innovator of, was it offense?
Innovator of offense,
yeah. So what anything stood out for you from his time in ring?
Well, yeah, I mean, and I didn't realize at the time when I was watching it, because, really the only thing that I cared about was his mask and his cool entrance, but yeah, when knowing what I know now and going back and watching, a lot of his matches, it's like, wow, like he really was an innovator. Like he made moves and turned some things and made it look, I mean, and even if he didn't make up the move, he definitely made the moves look cooler and definitely made them seem more of a higher impact than what they normally were. It's just, and it just surprises me even how some people will say like that, I mean, I'm sure you've heard the interviews and all of that and what Cena said and Flair, like in regards to him not being good enough. It's like, he was good in the ring, like maybe from a character standpoint. Up when he got to WWE, they didn't have anything to do with him. But as far as being good in the ring, I thought he was pretty good. And it doesn't surprise me that he influenced guys like the Young Bucks and Brian Cage and many more. But that was another surprising thing, like how close he was with the Young Bucks. I was like, wow, like, okay, now it makes sense. A lot of the stuff that they do too seems very heavily influenced by Kanyon.
Yeah, no, that thing that was really interesting. Like, I remember watching him, and I think I got more caught up in his character, his presentation, the mask, like the skull and his black hair, the way it was draped over the mask and the cape
and that beard, that goatee he had was really awesome.
It was cool. And then obviously James Mitchell came in, as his manager, and he was like this really mythical character. And this is right before the Attitude Era, which kind of made things more realistic, more reality based. Like we liked our wrestlers who were just more realistic and not these over the top personas.
I felt like Mortis was created to like destroy Glacier. You know, like that's what their feud felt like.
Yeah.
And then when he couldn't take him down by himself, that's when they called on Wrath. It's like
that was the thing. It was just like because I remember, because Glacier was total like Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat, and he was doing his thing, and it's like, okay, we bring like his equal, and like they were doing like the karate or martial arts and all these over the top moves in the ring, and then it's like, all right, I can't beat him by myself. I need like backup. And Wrath came in, but did Wrath have a mask as well, or is he just?
He had a mask during his entrance, but then he would take it off.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I was like, that's Adam. I remember as a kid, I was like, that's Adam Bomb, like 4 years ago in WWF. Like that's Adam Bomb. But then my brother reminded me, Wrath evolved into with Bryan Adams, and it became Chronic, because I like Chronic. The tag team was like, I thought they were kind of cool, like badass power guys. Not the greatest in-ring workers, but they were just like, like Road Warriors are probably my favorite tag team, Steiner Brothers. So like big beefy tag teams I was a fan of. But his offense was, like I said, so what I'm getting at is, I watched it live in real time, but I was a kid. I was, I was kind of caught up more in like the storytelling and what happened out of the ring and stuff. I wasn't like obsessing over the actual in-ring work. And now looking back on it, I wish I would have maybe appreciated more of his in-ring work back then and how innovative he was. And that's the thing, was like, I didn't really appreciate it in real time, but watching these highlights and other people talk about it, I was like, wow, he really was ahead of his time. And the Young Bucks said, like, he really did influence what we call, quote, the indie style now, this high flying, big spots, and it was amazing that this was all done like in the mid-card scene, more or less. Like he was never like a main eventer. Yeah. If I remember correctly. I'm just thinking, it was more like mid-card.
Yeah, definitely.
But I love, after the Mortis character kind of died down and he repackaged this as Kanyon took the mask off, and who better than Kanyon? And that was the thing. They said Dark Side of the Ring was like the Attitude Era. You needed a catchphrase to stand by and put on a t-shirt. So who better than Kanyon? I loved it. I was a big fan of that. It was total easy to remember. And, Brian Cage is like, who better than Cage? Like, it's, that was really cool. They didn't talk about it too much. DDP was on the episode, but they didn't talk about him and Bam Bam Bigelow as the New Jersey, or I'm totally blanking, but the Jersey staple.
The name. Yes, yeah. I forget their name.
I'm gonna look up for people who are listening right now and start yelling at their how they listen to this podcast. But his stable with DDP and Bam Bam Bigelow, because it was all the Jersey guys. Jersey Triad. That's what it was. I remember that, and I was kind of like, I was not a big fan of it because like DDP was kind of like heel. And remember, he was like the face of WCW for all those years going up against NWO. He was like the one guy who did not go to the NWO. Yeah. And once the whole thing kind of died down, the NWO storyline, then he turns heel. It's like, no.
It was those suede tights he used to wear. That's how I know that's his heel DDP. The suede tights and what is it? A suede shirt or jacket it was.
I'm just like the sweat in there. Like, oh, it must feel uncomfortable. Like, what's ridiculous? But then, after, it was interesting too. They didn't touch on it too much, but, I was listening to Solo Monster talk about it. And Eric Bischoff really took care of Kanyon as far as giving him like a bigger salary and got him work on, was it Ready to Rumble? He was like one of the choreographers for that movie and helped David Arquette train and stuff. So that was kind of cool. Like behind the scenes, Kanyon was had like some of the really big responsibilities like that. So that was interesting. And then obviously WCW got bought out. Oh, that's what. They said earlier, Mortis debuted, and then the NWO came in, and he was all pissed, like, oh, my career is done. But I remember watching that. I was like, wait, NWO came first. Mortis came after.
Right?
Yep.
I noticed that too.
I was like, who's researching Dark Side of the Ring? Come on, guys. Like, look at Wikipedia. I mean,
and even DDP had said as well, he was like, and again, like they've gone through so much, like they don't quite remember like exactly to date like what's going on. So when he said that Kanyon was like, oh, the NWO are here, oh, that's it for us, I was like, but the NWO was already like 98, right? I believe it was 98 when Kanyon had the mask off and he was feuding with Raven, I think it was.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yep.
Yeah. In 98. So like, the NWO, they were falling apart. I mean, they already had the Wolfpack in 98.
And I'm glad you brought that up. That was one thing I was bummed. Raven was not on this episode. I think he would have been great because I think he was like good friends with him. And I think even Raven tweeted out like he would have loved to have been part of this episode to give his viewpoint. So that's my one thing as well. Sometimes with Dark Side of the Ring is someone who are the speaking heads, the talking heads on these episodes. Like, is this really the best person to talk about this subject matter here? But that's something I always kind of, when I watch these shows now, I'm kind of like, okay, you're 3 seasons in. Now I get it, who you're able to book, who's available, who's not available, scheduling, because they have to go in person to meet them and film them. So
I think overall they want people. They want the person who can give them the most darkest side of them.
That is true. I mean, they are trying to create, I'm not going to say stir the pot, but, people that will give interesting takes. But anyway, so, when they go to WWE after WCW buys them, I forgot he was the double champion. He had the tag title, but the U.S. title, was it just given to him? Was that, I was trying to remember that because I remember like he had 2 titles. I was like, dude, why? He's destined for greatness then. He's a double champion at the time. I was kind of like wondering what happened.
I don't quite remember how he got that because Booker came in with the U.S. title, right? He was WCW champ and he was U.S. champion.
Okay.
And I forget how he got the U.S. title.
Okay, all right. I'm looking here on Wikipedia. So, the Invasion 2001. Okay, so on the July 26th episode of SmackDown in Pittsburgh, WCW champion Booker T, at the request of Stephanie McMahon, gave Kanyon his WCW U.S. title.
Okay.
Upon being presented with the title, Kanyon began referring to himself as the Alliance MVP. Okay. Okay. Right. So was Booker T a double champion then? And then... Okay.
Then he was forced to give it. Stephanie forced him to give it to Kanyon.
Who better than Kanyon? But anyway, it looked like things were going to be great for him in WWE based on that. Like the rub of being in the mix with all that. But unfortunately he got hurt. Like two serious injuries. It was October 2001. He tore a ligament. Let's see. Left anterior cruciate ligament during a dark match against Randy Orton. Went into surgery. So he was out for the rest of the Invasion angle. And then I think when he was trying to come back, let's see. So I think that was knee. That's right. And then 2002, he injured his left shoulder. So while he was rehabbing the knee, he hurt his shoulder. So there's 2. So he was gone for I think it was a year and a half almost.
Something like that.
Damn. I'm just looking at Wikipedia. There's a whole big old paragraph.
I always say too that when you're in WWE and you get injured, unless you're like the guy or the girl, you get injured. That's it. It's happened to so many people. It's happened to Finn, and Finn luckily was able to bounce back in NXT and come back, and he's in the position he's in now. But Samoa Joe, even they see that you're. At least now they have different roles for people, and they don't have to just let them go. But back then it was just this guy's not, he keeps getting injured. We'll just let him go.
Yeah, I'm looking at October 2001. We got hurt and came back April 2003. So yeah, he was gone almost a year and a half. So that really sucks. You're gone that long. I mean, God, you think about it. In our lifetime, a year and a half in pro wrestling, so much happens in a year and a half. And yeah, it's tough to bring back your momentum or regain that momentum you had before you lost. Like other people who were maybe like lower mid-carders are probably moved up to main event by that time, like over a year and a half. So that is tough to come back from that, bounce back. And then unfortunately when he came back, he was, he tried to do the whole, do you really want to hurt me? He's like acting like Boy George, the Culture Club song, and
which he did that very, very well. See, and I mean, it was funny, right? I mean, but he did it well, and that's why it's weird. It's hard for me to believe that he wasn't good in the ring, or he wasn't able to capitalize on whatever character that they were able to give him, because he went out there and he at least did that, perfect.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, and then obviously they showed
Taker beat him up.
Hanker beat him up, and that chair shot, which is one of the loudest chair shots I think I've ever heard in the head.
Yeah. Now,
granted, everyone's like, "Oh my God, what a terrible headshot." Well, back then, chair shots to the head was part of the normal. It was before.
Especially from Taker.
Yeah, it was before like where we're at now, where concussions and CT scans are very they take that stuff very seriously now. Back then, that was the norm. I mean, you've watched the Attitude Era, how many chair shots these guys took to the head, which was very scary to watch.
Brock Lesnar took a chair shot from Jeff Hardy in the head.
So that's the thing, was like when everyone's like, "Oh, that's terrible." It was like, well, yeah, that's how it was back in the day. They didn't really, it was not for like, I was like, when did they stop doing the head chair shots? Was that after the Benoit situation? Like when they kind of like, anytime you use a chair now, you just got to hit someone like on the back now. Like that's it. That's all you can hit. No more head shots. So it's been over 10 years now since that's been kind of like the protocol. But yeah, so it was tough. And then after that, he was just kind of jobbing out, and eventually got released by 03? No, let's see, by 04, I think it was. But yeah, so anyway, it just sucks because like from like 96 to 01, it looked like he was destined for big things, and he got the injury and then came back and was just jobbing out and was gone by 03, 04. So it was just unfortunate, the potential for him. And as you mentioned earlier, like he was on Howard Stern and Ric Flair called in, and more or less Ric Flair was just like a talking head on behalf of WWE. Because I think they wanted Vince McMahon to call in, but they couldn't get him. So Ric Flair called in on behalf of the company and just pretty much told him, like, you weren't good enough. That's why you didn't last. And I'm sure that must have sucked for him.
I could tell the look on his face seemed like he was so hurt and disappointed, because he said
idol.
And I mean, Flair had said that he was good and he didn't know why, but then it seemed like they were going back and forth because Kanyon he insisted that he got fired because he came out and that's why, and Flair was like, no, that's not why are you using that? And he was like, yeah, well, it's because you're not good. It's because you're not good. That's why.
And then the John Cena clip as well, which he kind of more or less. And keep in mind, both these guys, they were trying to cancel John Cena. It was like, well, both of them work for WWE, so they were just being used in the interview. Or Cena, that was separate. That was actually his in-studio interview with Howard Stern. But they were just more or less just probably retelling what was told to them. Was like, yeah, he let go because he wasn't good enough. So
yeah.
Now,
you know what? I think maybe I'm sorry to cut you off. I think maybe Cena at the time, like, people were upset, but I was like, Cena, I mean, he was wasn't he WWE champ at the time of that interview
05?
Too?
I think so. Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, he's just saying how he felt. I mean, whether you agreed with him or not. I mean, he just said that he didn't think he was any good, and maybe at that time, the type of stars that they were looking for and developing, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he didn't have what they were looking for. Maybe he worded it wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's tough to be interviewed by Howard Stern. Howard Stern's arguably the greatest interviewer ever. So it's probably nerve-wracking to be in there and try to come up with the proper answer to answer his question.
And he's like, boom, throwing it at you. Boom, boom. I actually went back after that and watched a bunch of Stern interviews like Stephanie and Triple H. And I was like, oh my goodness.
And that's the old Howard Stern. Like,
yeah,
I love Howard Stern. I still listen to him. His interviews are much more in depth now. Like he'll do like an hour with someone and get like really, it's almost like a psychologist, like digging the guest's head, and he'll analyze stuff and try to break it down. Back then in the 90s, early 2000s, he was just like rapid fire, throwing all these over the top questions at you. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah. So you could be sitting there and be like, what? Like I remember listening in high school and college, and you know, he'll do like a 20-minute interview with someone and it's just rapid fire, all these questions and trying to, you know, ask these over the top questions to get these answers out of them. So that's why I like those older interviews with Stephanie McMahon or Triple H and, you know, asking Triple H about prior relations with China and stuff. It's over the top. So when he went to satellite radio and that's where John Cena was on, that was, Howard was still kind of, he was in that transition of his interviewing style. So yeah, I can imagine John Cena probably nervous to be in the studio with him. But anyway, what I'm getting at also with John Cena, and here's the thing, I think people, I really want to know though, if Ric Flair and John Cena knew about Kanyon's orientation at that time. I really want to know, like, did the locker room know? I mean, on Dark Side of the Ring, they really try to emphasize he was so paranoid to keep that a secret. He didn't want no one to know. Unfortunately, he told James Mitchell just because like some buddies or whoever was helping him move and like a bunch of gay porn popped out of a box and he tried to say, oh, it's James Mitchell's stuff. He uses it as a joke on people, play on joke. And he told Mitchell like, hey, you got to say this, please. I don't want anyone to know. And, you know, like he would have like notes and people he would try to meet and stuff and this double lifestyle. But I want to know, it really sounded like he was paranoid to keep it a secret, but I really know, did anyone in the locker room actually know? And then therefore how he was treated in the ring, was that a reflection of that? I don't know. But what I'm getting at is, that's the thing about pro wrestling, and this is like a bigger topic. I would love to get your viewpoint. Pro wrestling, that's like, I know we say it's a sport, sports entertainment, pro wrestling, whatever you want to call it. That's it's the one industry where you look at actual other sports, NFL, NBA, hockey, baseball. If you're a good athlete, you know, your talent will shine. You will get the stats. You will win championships, win MVPs. You'll make your team better, whatever. Get your money, all that stuff. Pro wrestling, you can be an amazing athlete, but there are still layers of like politics and other aspects of the industry that people expect from you in order to be successful. If that makes sense. Like, we've seen a lot of guys in pro wrestling who have all the tools as far as maybe they're like amazing in-ring workers. They will, you know, outshine anyone in the ring. But if they don't have that full total package of an interesting character, can cut a promo, has good working relationships with people in the back, so therefore those behind the scenes politics are in their favor, that they get the good storylines or they get put over and booked to win matches and look good in front of the fans. Does that make sense? What I'm getting at?
Absolutely.
It's like that's the one thing about pro wrestling I don't think casual fans or non-wrestling fans don't understand is, you might watch this episode, it's like, oh my God, this guy's amazing in the ring. Why wasn't he champion? Well, there's a lot more to that. And that's why I always find fascinating about pro wrestling in general, like the behind the scenes stuff. And I think that's why a lot of people are interested in all the gossip and the rumors. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Kanyon is another example of a guy who was great in the ring, but there might be things that people didn't feel like he was good in other aspects to be someone that they can put all their eggs in and push to the top. But to Kanyon's defense, remember when he was sitting on the couch with Howard Stern and Ric Flair saying you weren't good, you just weren't good enough. Well, Kanyon said, well, keep in mind, no one gave me like good storylines, or I'm paraphrasing here, but he said like, Rick, you know, that's not completely true. I wasn't giving any good storylines, which is true to his defense. You know, if he's booked to get his ass kicked by The Undertaker, the crowd's going to turn on him and say, who's this effing loser here?
Yeah, exactly.
We don't care. Just because you can put on 5-star matches in the ring, if you're getting jobbed out or embarrassed on TV, the crowd's not going to enjoy you.
Yeah.
So that's why I do sympathize with Kanyon as an example of someone who could be great in the ring. But if the people around you, your coworkers, are not maybe have your best interests, it sucks and you can't succeed. I mean, that's just, how many times we've seen pro wrestling where so many guys, we're like, oh my God, that guy's such an amazing in-ring worker. But yeah, maybe he lacks talking on the microphone, or maybe creative doesn't come up with a good story for him. Of course, these people's careers are going to suck and, they're not going to go anywhere. I mean, that's the thing. John Cena, people hold him such high regard as one of the greats. Well, it's because Vince McMahon gave him the world title, 16 times?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like John Cena benefited from having Vince McMahon care so much about him to make him a world champion that many times. So now he's ultimately argued as one of the greats. John Cena, to his credit, he worked his ass off. He is amazing. He's a good in-ring worker. He's an amazing talker. His character's always been interesting for the most part. But does that make sense? What I'm saying, as far as he benefited from other people around him pushing him. So that's something hopefully maybe people understand when watching this episode about Kanyon, where pro wrestling, there's a lot of layers to success. Yeah. So I don't know. Definitely. Sorry, I'm going off on this weird long tangent here. But that's something like I really, what frustrates me when people maybe don't watch wrestling and like, oh, this guy, he's really good. Why does he get pushed? Well, there's a lot more to it.
It's a lot more to it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm getting at is, and that's where that clip of Kanyon, when he's told Ric Flair, was like, Rick, that's not completely true. Like, I am good in the ring, but I was not given any good storylines. And that's why, his time in WWE was not that good. He just became a jobber and stuff. And that's why I do feel bad. And how many guys over the years we felt bad wouldn't get the proper push. And unfortunately, not everyone can get pushed at the same time. There's going to be winners. There's got to be losers. So it's a whole cycle process.
I mean, and stuff like that. I mean, it's maybe a reach, but like you hear stories like what happened with Kanyon, and then you realize why guys like Sting, didn't jump and come right after, because it's like, if they look at Kanyon and think that he's not capable or they don't have nothing for him, if they can't make something out of that, then I mean, what are they going to do with me? You know, and granted, I mean, Kanyon and Sting, two different guys, obviously, but just to make the point, like, I mean, they missed with Kanyon, in my opinion. I feel like he definitely could have been a lot more. I mean, because you look at even the guys now. Look at Damian Priest. Like, Kanyon could have been that Damian Priest caliber type of guy for WWE back then. Or, he was perfect.
Or just example with Adam Cole. Yeah, like look at Adam Cole, and this is something we notice a lot with NXT guys and stuff. Amazing in-ring workers. Adam Cole. You and I as fans, hardcore fans, we know he is $1 million. Like he is worth everything. He's an amazing in-ring performer. He's a great talker. He has a fun character. He has all the tools to be a success. Yep. But we hear all these stories now about what were the potential plans for him on the main roster. And they're like, that is scary. Like, that's what they thought of him for creative, like cutting his hair, dropping the Cole last name, being a manager for Keith Lee. It's like, no, this guy is your next Shawn Michaels. Yep. We see that. And that's what creative was rumored coming up with him. So that's why we all didn't blame him when he jumped ship and went to AEW for the better opportunity for his own career. But that's an example of someone who has the total package, but at the same time, it's the powers that be that can control your destiny. And he knew, if I go to Raw or SmackDown, I don't think I trust these people with my destiny. Yeah. I think what Mick Foley said a couple weeks ago in that video on Facebook. I mean, like I said, that's I'm sorry if I'm going on this long tangent, but this is a talk I had with my brother driving home one day. Was that's the thing about pro wrestling? You can be the best in-ring worker, but the the politics and the powers that be that can control your creativity, they can totally make or break your career. So that's what I'm getting at here. And then the last thing I will just say about Kanyon was I just do feel really bad for him, because this is someone who came up from a really religious, strict family background.
Yeah.
But he knew early on he was gay, and he had to keep that private. Obviously, he didn't want to piss off probably his family and friend, but also working pro wrestling where the locker room can be very hostile.
Yep.
Being very paranoid. He was very self-conscious about his lisp. And then come to find out he was a bipolar.
Yeah.
So,
he was diagnosed with bipolar.
So that explains these mood swings where he would attack James Mitchell. On top of the depression.
They talked about that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, God, that relationship between Mitchell and Kanyon was really interesting, how close they were. And, you know, that he would lash out at someone he was close with. So,
I mean, what was crazy to me is to hear the Young Bucks and Brian Cage and that I forgot the guy's name, but he said he was a wrestler too. Say all these great things about him, and then you got James over here saying that. I mean, he had to hide a gun under the pillow because he didn't know if he was going to come for his neck again. You know,
so that sucks that you're just dealing with the emotions of trying to cope with, you know, coming out as being gay. On top of that, dealing with the bipolar. So, and then you're depressed from, you know, maybe how you're being presented on TV, you know, the politics of wrestling and stuff, just depression of battling from the injury. And then the bipolar, you know, mixed in with that, just probably amplifying all that emotion. So that's why he's probably had these crazy mood swings. And, and I felt so bad for him. And I think it was a Saul Monster was said, like, after that Howard Stern interview with Ric Flair told him, you know, he was no good. I think he left like really upset and, was like tempted to want to like jump in front of a subway or something like that. Wow. But he stopped because, I think was it his brother or something. I think because someone was with him, either a friend or his brother or something was with him, and he couldn't do it. But it's unfortunate that of all this issues, he became very suicidal, and unfortunately the antidepressants he was on, he overdosed on that. And so it sucks that, you know, we lost him at such a young age, and I felt very bad for him. But at least, you know, Young Bucks and Brian Cage really put him over how helpful he was in their early career, and it just shows he was trying to pay it forward with Brian Cage. Like, no, this is your promotion. We're wrestling each other, but you're going to go over. And how he was helpful with other people too. So that's, if anything, remember him for that part of who he is as a person and stuff. So definitely. I don't know. Like, I mean, I could go on and on talking about it, but it's just, it was just interesting, this tragic story of Kanyon, how it really kind of speaks volumes about just how pro wrestling is ran behind the scenes. Yeah. I guess that's what I'm getting at. So, but yeah, I can't wait to watch the next episode of Dark Side Ring. It's about the hardcore company, the one that Terry Funk used to work for. UW. I'm totally
forget the name.
Let me double check real quick. It is, let's see, Blood and Wire, Onita's FMW. That's what it was. Yeah. Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. So, it's on my DVR. I got to watch that one. So, but no, good stuff. And all right, so let's jump over to actually AEW talk this week. Sorry for rambling off on that one. Sorry. Thank you, Brian, for listening to me ramble.
No problem. Yeah, it's good.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like I do enjoy having like these deep conversations about these different wrestling topics, just because my main thing is, if someone's listening, if they can learn something from it. I think that's the thing too, is like we see all these news and documentaries out there, and hopefully people kind of learn more of the full story and stuff and all that stuff. But now with AEW news wise, it was announced this week that AEW is in the process of creating another title, a women's title, a second tier women's title. It's going to be the TBS title, I believe. Mm-hmm. I don't know, what are your thoughts about this, of AEW introducing another title for the women's division?
Yeah, I think It's initially I was like, well, it's not that bad, but then putting some thought to it, it's like, oh, maybe I don't know, because there was talks with the TNT, the TBS title, maybe some trios titles, and it just seems like a whole lot going on so quickly. But I mean, their roster is growing quickly as well, so I mean, they can't switch, the main titles so often all the time, So I don't know, maybe it'll be a good thing. TBS. I don't think it should be the TBS Championship though. I don't like the TBS and TNT names.
No, me neither. I was like, you and I grew up with the TV title. Yeah, the name TV title. It was great because it was a title that was defended on television on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, TV is different now. We consume TV differently. I think more people like to use the term streaming now. So you can't use the streaming title, though. I think that's like a realistic name. But so this all comes on with the announcement that January 5th, 2022, that's when Dynamite will move from TNT to TBS, which is interesting because I remember earlier this year, I think we all talked about AEW was moving to TBS. That was announced. And I thought, was it supposed to be August originally?
Yeah. I think so.
And then it went quiet, and then here we are, beginning of October. It's like, nope, nothing's changed yet. But now it officially was announced, it's going to be January. So Dynamite is going to be moving to TBS, but Rampage is actually staying on TNT, which I'm actually kind of happy for because I do like wrestling on TNT, just growing up with WCW. Now, granted, I know TBS, its long lineage, its history of wrestling there between the NWA, WCW. So wrestling on both networks, I'm excited for. It's just nice to say that pro wrestling on Turner's network.
I feel like they gotta swap it though. They have to put the B show on TBS and they gotta have the A show on TNT, like Nitro and Thunder.
So out of the two, which one's think is the bigger network, TNT or TBS?
Okay, probably TNT, but I thinking about it now, like I get why they're probably going with TBS for Dynamite because they probably wouldn't have to switch nights so many times throughout the year because of basketball games.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe that's why.
And TNT also has the new hockey deal. Like I just turned the other night, NHL was on there, I guess, because the playoffs or not the playoffs. I'm sorry, the season's about to start.
Wow.
So they probably figured we'll probably get preempted a lot because I think NHL games are on Wednesdays. So let's go to TBS where it could be all ours by ourselves.
Next year they'll be on Spike TV.
And then Pop. And then Destination America. Yeah. And then they'll be on YouTube only. So, but I remember, growing up, TBS, the Superstation. I remember when TBS, like everything started like 5 minutes past the hour, which I never understood why.
Yep.
Like, and I know like wrestling was like at 6:05.
6:05.
But
Saturday night. WCW Saturday night.
But I don't know about you. I don't know if you ever watched, like, I remember going home from school and like Saved by the Bell would start like at like 3:05 or something, or 2:05. Like I was wondering like why all these shoes or TBS's programming was always 5 minutes past the hour.
Yeah.
I always wanted to know that, but like, don't get me wrong. So I'm happy to see wrestling on both networks, but I was trying to think, I was like, which one's the bigger network?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess TNT maybe right now because of the sports aspect that's on there. TBS does get college basketball, March Madness. They used to have the Atlanta Braves back in the day, but now it's just like playoff baseball. What else do they get?
I don't even know what channel TBS. I don't remember the last time I turned to TBS.
I mean, Family Guy reruns, Seinfeld reruns are there, but now Seinfeld is all on Netflix now. Netflix had that new deal and they just premiered or dropped all the episodes there. So I'm just getting at is TBS and TNT are pretty much one and the same. Like, I know people are like, oh, TNT's in more houses. I was like, I think most cable plans have both of them together as a package deal.
Yeah, if you have TNT, you most likely have TBS.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would like to see someone or which households only have TNT only. Like, I think it's like TNT, like, barely has like maybe a few thousand more houses than TBS. But you think Tony Khan will work something out where they'll air Dynamite on TBS and then they'll replay it on TNT later on? I could see Tony Khan trying to do something like that. Like, I don't know, for people, like, because at first there's probably going to be some people who may not have TBS, and then people will be complaining, and then he'll be like, well, we got to retrain them and stuff to their viewing habits.
Yep. Well, catch the replay on TNT after the Lakers game, Well,
you gotta say Lakers. Why can't it be Warriors?
Well, the Warriors, they play on what's their network?
NBC Sports Bay Area.
NBC Sports. There we go.
Wow, man, you live here in the Bay Area. Dude, by the way, I saw you tweet that photo of the Lakers, man. How old is the six of them now? How old is that Laker team?
Doesn't matter, Huey. We're gonna win the championship.
Anthony Davis is the youngest one. Like Russell Wilson and Rondo, they're gonna be headbutting by 3 games in.
No, they're fine. Everything is fine.
What's this, Bullet Club? They're fine.
Yes, everything. Everything is fine in the Laker club.
Maybe you and we should start a basketball podcast.
Oh yeah,
yes. Off the rim or within the lane.
Within the hole.
There we go. I'm thinking already.
See, there it is. I like that. We got to do it now so no one steals it. Don't steal our idea.
Well, so because my sister station is KMBR. They're the sports station. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if we can do like a sports podcast or something. NBA talk, coach talk. I don't know. I'm just throwing out random ideas out, but
coach talk.
Oh yeah, maybe Jimbo, because Jimbo works at the Warriors. Maybe he can give us like exclusive interviews or something. The PR guy at the Warrior loves me, so it's like I'm thinking out loud. Sorry. It's been all Warrior stuff. Can be Lakers.
Laker guy.
No, but I was laughing at that photo. I was like, because it was media day this week for all the NBA teams, and so everyone's taking all their updated group photos. So I saw the photo of LeBron James, Davis, Rondo, Wilson, Dwight Howard, and Carmelo Anthony. How's Carmelo Anthony still in the league?
He's young. He's not 40 yet. He's young,
dude. Like they're none of them are gonna get all their points. There's not enough ball possessions or shot clock time.
It's about sacrifice. See, that's what the culture we're building. We're in training camp right now, preseason. We're building. We got to be selfless to win the championship.
I get that. So they're gonna copy the Warriors motto from a few years ago with the All-Star team we had.
You remember for like when the Warriors won the championship, and then every single team needed like camaraderie, or they needed like a three-headed
superstars, all-stars,
or everyone just started shooting threes. It's crazy how they completely changed the games. And this is Steph Curry over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Steph Curry, man. My dad was telling me earlier he's going to make like $54 million a year now. I think so. Something like that. Anyway. But it's sorry, my dad's walking in. That's why I said it. So how much is Curry going to make?
$215 million over 4 years.
$215 million over 4 years.
Comes out to roughly 54.
54 million a year. Man,
that's a lot of money.
So Curry could pick up the bill. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. But anyway, sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this. So anyway, TNT with basketball. Anyway, I'm excited for AEW being on TBS and still having a presence on TNT. Obviously, it's going to be tough retraining everyone. And I mean, remember they said originally in between pay-per-views, they'll still have like big TV events on TNT. That was like earlier this year. I don't know if that's still going to happen though. Remember that? Like they'll have like these big TV pay-per-views on TNT.
Yep.
So I don't know. We'll probably get more info next year.
This is just more confusion for JR. He's going to be like, we're live on TNT.
It's going to be Dynamite on TBS. And he's going to say, here's the WWE champion, Kenny Omega on TNT. That's what he's going to say.
Excalibur, he's gonna be put to work, man.
By the way, remember we talked about like a month ago the discussion of JR being removed as an announcer, and those talks went away.
Yeah, it seems like they're adding commentators by the minute now on both shows.
Wait, so what's Rampage's lineup now?
I think it's Jericho.
But he hasn't
Excalibur.
been on the last couple weeks. He wrestled last week. At the
I think JR filled in. I think.
And Mark Henry's already been taken off.
Ricky Starks.
Taz. Excalibur.
Ricky Starks, Taz, Excalibur, and JR. Or Shivani. I forget which was. Probably Shivani.
And Mark Henry now just introduces the main event now. Yeah. It's time for the main event. Like, oh God. Man, I mean, I love Mark Henry, but yeah, his presentation, he talks kind of more mellow and slower. And so I felt like he was the fourth man. He couldn't keep up with everyone else's fast-paced delivery. So I was like, I wasn't surprised when they like kind of quietly took him off TV already. So I'm kind of bummed though for him, but I'm glad he's still doing some on-air hosting as far as the interviews and stuff. But anyway, but no, so anyway, back to TBS. So as far as them having a women's title, the TBS title, I'm like you, I'm not a big fan of it just named after the network.
Yeah.
Because, well, that's the thing. Like when they go to Dynamite, goes to TBS, it's still going to be the TNT title, but they're on TBS, their A show.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a head scratcher there. I'm like, I don't know.
A little weird. It's a little weird.
It's a little weird, but for me, if they were going to make a second tier title for the women's division, shouldn't it just be a tag titles? I feel like that
so. Since it seems like a lot of women's tag teams in AEW are forming, by the week,
Anna Jay, Tay Conti. That's what I noticed tonight, or my watching of Dynamite tonight. But, I was like, I would think a tag title, women's tag title, would be more important than like a second tier women's title. I don't know. I mean, they are building up that women's division with a lot of people on their roster, so I could see the need for a second title of some sorts. But yeah, I would think tag titles would make more sense. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes. And then there's been the rumors of the trios title coming. Yeah. I think that makes sense as well, just because New Japan, they have New Japan, right? They have the their own version of the trios. No, wait. Excuse me. No, I'm thinking of Ring of Honor. Duh.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor has like their version of trios title, and doesn't. Yeah. I mean, trios obviously is that AAA as well, or in Mexico?
They do. I think. Do they?
I mean, trios is Spanish, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so
they might. I think so.
But I think New Japan has a
New Japan does. Yeah, they have
the open weight, right?
Open weight. Yeah.
So other promotions do have 3-person like titles, which I think is cool. I mean, WWE doesn't do it, so that's why it's so foreign to me. So I think it'd be cool. Like, yeah, if they do bring it. I mean, now you see there are a lot of 3-man groups. I mean, Jurassic Express. We got the Super Kliq now, so it kind of makes sense. Maybe Adam Cole, Young Bucks, give them something to do, another title to go after. Best Friends. I mean, there are a lot of like quote factions, or at least 3 people teams that they can put together. So, I mean, that makes more sense, but that has not been officially announced. But when it does come, I'm all for it. But
yeah, definitely.
Do you think it's too many titles though in AEW?
I do, which is why I think they shouldn't do the TBS title. The trios title seems more beneficial. I mean, even on their website, they like the wrestler pages, like they have like their singles record, their tag team record, and their trios record. So if everyone's got a trio record, and it seems like they find a way to get different versions of trios and tag teams. I mean, I had to explain to Charlie, my son, that, you know, he was like, he saw Dante Martin and Matt Seidel, but like a few weeks ago, he saw Matt Seidel and I forgot his brother's name. Mike? I think it is Mike.
Okay.
Is it Mike? Yeah, I think it is Mike.
I'll look it up as you're talking.
Matt and Mike, but
yeah, Mike.
You know, yeah. So, but he had seen both of them with different partners before. He's like, why are they partners? I'm like, because it's AEW. You know, like, you know, they did. I mean, they team. I mean, they are allies.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, I am in favor of like, you know, a trios title. So I think it'd be cool. It makes sense for me as far as, okay, you got the World Championship, got the TNT Championship, got tag titles and trios title. That's your max. I mean, I know some companies have cruiserweight / lightweight, light heavyweight titles of their own, which.
What if they were? Nah, I was gonna say, what if they were like mixed trios tag titles, like.
Was that Lucha Underground that did that?
I think they did do that, where it's like you can have the women get in too, so that you didn't have to have another set of tag titles. But that's too messy. I feel like that's like a disaster waiting to happen in terms of booking.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's trios title. I think would be a little more cooler than like a light heavyweight title, just because. With the trios title, that way you get more people involved, and they do have a big roster, so it kind of and it justifies all those factions. And then from a women's standpoint, I think heavyweight or you know, women's championship and the tag titles, and that way you can have some more interesting storylines of women, you know, tagging together and, you know, crossing over, and those storylines there. So like this second tier title for the women's division, I think it's a little unnecessary. I'd rather have tag titles for them, but. We'll see what happens. I mean, but then after that, that's it. No more titles. Because, I mean, I do get it. You need titles for all the different divisions in your promotion, but you don't want to overdo it. Yeah. Because, like, even like, you know, everyone talks about WWE, but remember NWA back in the day, NWA had the World Heavyweight Championship. They had the U.S. title. They had television title. They had like the national title. They got the U.S. titles. They got the tag titles. They had the U.S. tag title. It was like NWA had a lot, but again, I think it was spread out over all the territory. So
and then WCW, they had the WCW World title. They had the TV title, the U.S. title, the Cruiserweight title, the tag team titles. At one point, they had the women's title. You know, and then in the later years, they had the hardcore title, and
it's a lot. It's a lot to keep track of. But
no one has more titles than the WWE, though.
It's a lot to keep track of. But so we'll see what happens there. But all right, so let's talk about AEW television. I know it's been a longer episode. Damn it, Brian. See, you do this to me.
I do it every time.
These long episodes. But then again, people have been noticing and complimenting our conversations as of late. So thank you to everyone for all the support and listening.
Thanks, Kliqsters.
Yes, Kliqsters, that's right. I got to get you on with LaRocca. LaRocca and I were texting the other day. He's like, I missed the Kliqsters. Or he tweeted that one out. He said, I missed the Kliqsters. So last week on Dynamite and Rampage, it was Grand Slam. It was their 2 nights over at Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York. I think what they did was, didn't they just film everything last Wednesday? So it was like a 4-hour show, and then they just put 2 hours on Dynamite, 2 hours on Rampage.
Yep.
You know, which kind of just, you know, we won't spend too much time on this because it is kind of old news now, but I just want to get your general take of the whole Grand Slam presentation at Arthur Ashe.
Yeah, it was amazing to see them do that. It reminded me of WCW Nitro in the Georgia Dome. You know, having that many seats available, even like with the stage setup, and then the seats available behind. That was more so like I don't know, like a early WWE days where they would do stuff like that, have people sit behind the entranceway. So there was barely any seats tarped off for this event. So the presentation was great, even on TV. Like, it was great. They had the big LED ramp leading to the ring. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of the entranceway being connected to the apron. I don't really like that.
But yeah, I'm with you because I feel like it becomes kind of like a distraction because like I feel like that part of the ring or that side of the ring is not really usable, or when people are trying to walk around, it just gets in people's ways.
Yep.
And if you fall out of the ring, you actually just land there instead of like on the ground properly. Yeah, I'm not a complete fan of that. I mean, that's obviously like old WCW, NWA thing, I think, as well. Even I remember ECW used to do that. So I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of the ramp connected to the ring. I'm more just traditional, like go downward.
Yep.
I will say, out of the two shows, Dynamite I think was the better one. The Rampage one, it got a little long. Like the first hour was better than the second hour. So here, I'll just go over quickly at the results. I mean, so Dynamite, we saw Kenny Omega take on Bryan Danielson. We also had, let's see. Oh yeah, MJF against Brian Pillman Jr. That match, let's see, MJF won. Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black. Malachi Black won. FTR versus Sting and Darby Allin. That was a lot of fun. Just seeing Sting in the ring, mix it up. They got the win there. That was cool. Which we'll talk more about FTR from this week's episode of Dynamite. It looks like they're kind of getting refocused again. Yeah. And then the main event was Britt Baker against Ruby Soho, and Britt Baker picked up the win. So that was cool. And then let's see, on Rampage, CM Punk against Powerhouse Hobbs. It was cool. Just Powerhouse Hobbs, just to be in that stadium with over 20,000 people, local guy, Bay Area guy, get that much attention. That was cool. Big match for him against CM Punk. So very proud of him.
Huge match.
Super Kliq of Adam Cole, Young Bucks taking on Christian Cage and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. That was a lot of fun as well. God, it's just, I don't know why. I'm so happy to see Adam Cole still on my I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain as far as it's interesting. I think NXT's success is now kind of carrying over into AEW's success because they're now taking some of the best guys from NXT in their prime years and coming over AEW. So it's really weird how these two competitors of one another are now kind of coming together, blending together, and it's for AEW's benefit. So I don't know. I'm just super happy for Adam Cole because I think I said this before. He is already in the last few weeks since debuting with AEW, he's wrestling in front of bigger crowds than he did with NXT outside of takeovers. Yeah. And and he had a handful of takeover matches before the pandemic. So I'm just really happy for him that like week to week now he's going to be at these larger arena shows and wrestling for a bigger crowd. So that is really cool. I love the promo. Or no, excuse me. Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page take on Chris Jericho and Jake Hager, and then Jericho and Hager got beat up all the MMA guys in the ring. Yeah. And then Lucha Brothers, along with Santana Ortiz taking on Butcher and the Blade and Private Party. That was a lot. It was chaotic, but it was cool. Santana Ortiz, who are from New York, get the love, and I love all four of them jumping over the ropes at the same time, take out the bad guys down below. Yeah. And then Anna Jay took on Penelope Ford. And then the lights out match, Eddie Kingston, John Moxley versus Suzuki and Lance Archer.
That was all over the place.
Homicide debuted or made a run-in, made a save, who he's working for Ring of Honor right now. So I wonder, is this a one-time thing for Homicide, or does this mean the Forbidden Doors open and Ring of Honor people can come into the fold now?
Right.
I mean, Ring of Honor,
especially especially with talks of like the trios titles, they have trios titles, and I don't know, it just seems kind of weird now. It's like, I don't know, maybe there's some type of,
I mean, maybe. Okay, like here's my thing is, Ring of Honor, keep in mind, they were the ones, so many of these guys in AEW who are succeeding or are fan favorites came from Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
You look from the Elite to CM Punk, Bryan Danielson,
yep,
all them. And then guys went there to get their careers back on track, like Cody Rhodes. And you think about it, Ring of Honor had the relationship with New Japan, and I'm sure they would like to keep working with New Japan, but AEW kind of moved right over them. So maybe they all can work together nicely and Impact. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, at the end of the day, it's about us, the fans. So if they're able to have everyone work together, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact, put on like maybe these huge, big shows. Like maybe that's what it takes to fill up a football stadium for them. You have all these like all-star matchups and matches and, over the top, fun fantasy booking that we didn't dream matches and we think could happen. So I'm excited for that. It'd be cool to see Ring of Honor. It makes you kind of wonder though, if Ring of Honor or is it Sinclair that owns them? If they would have put maybe more money into Ring of Honor or their production and gotten a better TV deal, I wonder if they could have just took the place that AEW has right now in the wrestling landscape. You know what I mean? Like, they had all these people on their roster. The Elite were all there. If they just would have, had a better TV deal and maybe started booking in arenas better and putting more money into the product and maybe getting these guys under longer, better contracts. And then you look at Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, guys like that who became free agents. They do have their roots based there, so maybe they would have, quote, came home and they had the working relationship with New Japan and could have done some stuff with Impact. I don't know. It makes me wonder about that, but I'm sure Ring of Honor is like, we want in on this fun right now, so maybe that's why they're being lenient. I think they tweeted out a while ago, like, who you want to see from Ring of Honor in the Forbidden Doors? So maybe that was like a little Easter egg of what could happen. I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm excited. It's like if Homicide showing up means Ring of Honor gets involved, that's great. But I
would definitely take AEW to a whole nother level as well, I think.
We think about it, guys in Ring of Honor right now who have connections with the Young Bucks, and you got Mike Bennett and Taven, Taven, who were in the Kingdom with Adam Cole. I mean, the possibilities of history there that they could tap into in the archives and the library. I'm all for that. But one thing I just want to touch on was the opening match of Bryan Danielson against Kenny Omega, non-title match here. Amazing match. It was like 30 minutes.
Yep.
Hard hitting. I don't know what you think about this matchup between the two of them.
Yeah, it was definitely hard hitting. It was I think we all knew from the beginning like that this was, everyone was speculating or it was going to be time limit draw. I think they specified even a little more than normal in the beginning that, 30-minute time limit. I think JR even said 30-minute time limit. And so you kind of knew, but they wrestled. It was very methodical. A lot of wrestling moves. I felt Kenny Omega I felt Bryan brought out the best in Kenny Omega, in my opinion, his best match in AEW.
Okay.
Since being there, I mean, he's had some good matches, but Kenny was like, I said on Twitter, I was like, he's getting in his bag now. Like he's looking like the best bout machine, the cleaner. Like he's looking more and more like that. But yeah, I mean, the draw, I didn't really like the draw decision too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think for them, it was an easy way out. It's like you don't want to give Bryan Danielson a loss in his first match with the company, the big free agent signing. Kenny Omega, you don't want him to lose because he already lost once recently when he dropped the Impact title to Christian. So it's like,
and I may be looking too deep into it, but I even said for a minute, I was like, like that was my issue. Like, it's a draw. You got one guy who main evented WrestleMania this year who comes in and talks about this is about being the best, but can't even beat him. But then, you got Kenny, who's the AEW World Champion. He can't beat Bryan either, or excuse me, Bryan Danielson. He can't beat him either. So it's like, I don't know, man. I just really, and of course, it being a non-title match, I was hoping that Kenny would steal a win or get some help from someone, but I get it. You want to set up and.
Yeah, no, it worked its way out. And then, I think after this match, Kenny Omega tweeted out like, no rematch. I'm not giving him a rematch. I gave you guys one match. That's it. Mm-hmm. I tweeted out like, give us a rematch, make it an Iron Man match, like 60-minute Iron Man match. I don't know if they would do that, but it'd be cool. I mean, we'll get the rematch at some point. It's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Now let me ask you this: do you think Kenny Omega drops the title before that rematch, before Bryan Danielson, and that way it's just man versus man? And the only thing they're really fighting for is who's the best in the world.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe he drops it before, and then maybe their match will be, all right, well, whoever wins this will
it's the true best.
Be true best. Get back in the title picture if Kenny wins. If not, Bryan gets in the title picture. I don't know. But then it's just like, if they were going to do this, well, and then I don't know how long I don't know how they've been planning. If they were going to do this, then I would have just had him drop the title a long time ago.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how they're going to do that aspect. If it's still going to be Hangman to be the one to dethrone him. I mean, for me, this match was exciting just because Bryan Danielson has been such a fan favorite, one of the best. Kenny Omega, it was a dream match. It was a match that we've been wanting to see for a long time. Didn't they wrestle each other years ago in Ring of Honor, when they were really young? So
yep,
it's a match I think a lot of people didn't think was going to happen or could happen like a year ago. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people were saying, "Oh, this is the greatest free TV match of all time." And I'm like, whoa, I mean, no, take a step back. I mean, recency bias here. Let's, it was awesome. I loved it. I mean, it was great seeing Bryan Danielson's chest all red, beat up. I mean, they were slapping, kicking the S out of each other. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Like, I think this was Kenny Omega's best match. Like, we finally got to see the Kenny Omega we saw in New Japan against Okada, all those great matches, and Jericho. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's like, when Kenny Omega, his contract with New Japan was expiring, and like finally think maybe sign a deal with American promotion, and we finally get to see this guy that we've heard about, the legend of Kenny Omega in New Japan.
Yep.
And, it was like, is he going to sign with WWE or somewhere else? And so when he signed with AEW and AEW formed, we're like, all right, we're going to see Kenny Omega on a regular basis. This guy with all these like 6-star matches. And granted, you can argue or analyze his first year or two in AEW. I think he took kind of a step back from an in-ring performance because I think they were so focused on pushing. The Elite did not want to put themselves over first. They want to put all these other guys over first as like their first ever champions.
Yeah, they're being EVPs.
Yeah, they're like, let's put this other talent over first, and then over time we can go after those titles after they've been established. Yeah. So Kenny Omega, I was kind of frustrated the first year of AEW. Like, I'm not seeing the Kenny Omega that I saw in the highlights in New Japan.
Yeah.
He kind of took a step back, focused on the tag team stuff with Hangman Adam Page. Now I know long form storytelling. It's really helped set up Hangman as a top star. Like, they're a tag team. They break up.
Yeah.
Kenny becomes champion. I think Heyman's going to be the one to take him out. And so it's this really like 2-year story that they're trying to tell here. Mm-hmm. But it's like finally when he turned heel and became champion, he's starting to have these better matches again. It's like we're starting to see shades of what we saw in New Japan. So seeing this match, it was like finally this is what we saw a couple years ago. We're finally seeing this again. So that's what I was just happy for. It's like this is the type of Kenny Omega match I want to see on a more regular basis.
Yeah.
So that's what I was happy for. And Bryan Danielson, obviously great dance partner to help bring it out of him.
Definitely.
I was I loved it. But yeah, let me ask you this. So yeah, the big question, is this the best free TV match ever? I kind of say no. Well, I mean, okay, I love the Walter Dragunov match, their first one at NXT UK. I guess technically that was on regular TV. I mean, it was on the network, NXT UK, but it was not. I guess we could put it in this category because it was not technically a pay-per-view or a takeover.
Right.
I love that match. I think that was the best match in 2020. I don't know about you. Is there any other matches that stood out? I mean, I do have a list here. I can kind of maybe go over and throw them at you and see if you agree. Because I know we were talking off the air, like AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan last June for the IC title. I know that was at the Performance Center, but it was amazing.
Yeah, that was good. And even in terms of 5-star matches, I know, Meltzer gave Bryan and Kenny, Bryan his first 5-star match in his match against Kenny, and I think that the match with Styles deserved to get 5 stars also. That was a really, really, really good Intercontinental Championship match. I mean, how many times? I mean, how often can you say that over the last few years? I
mean, and they haven't really wrestled each other too often, if I don't think so. It was kind of a cool moment on that Friday night, two of them in the finals for the new Intercontinental Champion. So that was an awesome match there. And AJ won, right? Because he became the he became the champion and Grand Slam champion officially, right? Or no, the tag titles. Did he win tag titles before? I mean, I know he just had him with Omos.
No, you're right. It was the tag team is what made him Grand Slam.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So this is a list I just saw on this website called thesportster.com. So they have a top 10 list. I just did a quick Google search of 10 best free TV matches. So Asuka versus Nikki Cross from NXT back in June 2017. That was pretty epic. Like Nikki Cross flying, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Brock Lesnar versus Hulk Hogan from SmackDown, August 8th. Oh, that's my brother's birthday, 2002. Cena versus Shawn Michaels, Raw, April 2007. Let's see. Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain from NXT, July 2018. God, that was 3 years ago now.
Seems like it's forever.
Man.
Seems like forever ago.
Sasha Banks versus Charlotte, Raw, November 2016. That was pretty epic.
Queen City.
Remember when Sasha put Charlotte in the bank statement through the bars of the walkway and the stairs?
Yep.
Finn Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That was July 2016 in NXT. Mustafa Ali versus Buddy Murphy, 205 Live. That was July 2018. Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle from SmackDown, September 03. And then number 1 they have here, John Cena versus CM Punk from Raw, February 2013. Now, granted, some of these matches were epic. I mean, I think for a lot of people, Kenny Omega, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, because it was a mixture of hard hitting and technical stuff. Some of these were not as technical as Omega.
I think Omega and Bryan, from a wrestling standpoint, you look at it as, okay, that was one of the best wrestling matches I've seen on TV. A lot of those other ones are like
more sports entertainment, like Hogan and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, these are just, man, we got this pay-per-view caliber match on TV. Yeah. Wow.
So, I mean, it's a great debate. I mean, I think we need to give some time. Definitely match of the year candidate. That's for sure. Yeah. We'll see. So, please, if you're listening to us, go ahead, tweet at us at In The Kliq if you think this is the greatest free match of all time. So Grand Slam was just a lot of fun. All right, let's power through Dynamite this week. I know, sorry for another long-winded episode here.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
No, it's all good. So opening match, Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy. I was looking forward to this. I mean, I don't know, maybe because he's in AEW, like seeing Adam Cole, like it's like we just saw him on NXT on a regular basis. It's just so trippy to me. End of August, he had his last match at TakeOver 36, and then like less than 2 weeks later, he shows up in AEW. Like I still can't get over like a month ago or a little over a month and a half ago, we saw him on NXT and he just jumped ship like that. Like a lot of these guys and gals, they get fired or something, they got to wait a month or 3 months, 90 or 30 days, 90 days. So we might forget about them and they're off TV for a long time. But no, his presence never had any downtime. He's always just been on our TV screens, but it's just on a different network. I don't know. I'm happy for Adam Cole. It looks like he's having a lot of fun right now. I haven't had a chance to listen to the whole interview, but he was on Renee's podcast.
Yep.
And to his credit, he was very thankful of everything Triple H, Shawn Michaels did for him. And it's a smart move. He's not burning any bridges. He's happy with his time there, but he's like, want to look at this possibility right now. And also, I've been meaning to give you, acknowledge you. So I know a couple weeks ago I said, Renee had CM Punk on, and I said, oh yeah, no, it's just they re-uploaded the old interview from earlier this year, which they did. But then I saw the next day after you and I we recorded, she did have a second interview with CM Punk, a new one. So there's two, because I remember her YouTube channel, like after CM Punk debuted in AEW, they re-uploaded that first interview from earlier this year.
Right.
I was like, oh, but then I saw she had a new second interview with CM Punk as well. So
I don't think she promoted that one.
So I did want to acknowledge when you said the new one. I was like, what? No, they just re-uploaded it. So there's like two interviews there. But yeah, sorry. Anyway, opening match here, Jungle Boy, Adam Cole. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought this was Jungle Boy's best match in AEW since he was a part of AEW. This is his best match. Adam Cole, I think this was, Adam Cole hasn't had very many, but he looked very much so comfortable. That first match, I thought Adam Cole was kind of like still in the shock, like that, like
the system.
Hey, right?
Shock. I like his new theme song is cool, and like commentary. CM Punk was on commentary, but they really were putting it over. Oh, it's the number one rock song on the charts. I was like, what? Like on the streaming Spotify? Like what? Like it's not heard on the radio or anything. But that's my old school brain thinking. But But I tweeted out. I still think Undisputed Era's theme song is better than Adam Cole's AEW theme song. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. I agree.
The new song is cool. It's good. It's all about that boom.
Yeah. But I think when you hear it so much, the new one, so much, it kind of gets annoying after a while. It's like, okay. But it doesn't have that same feel. Like you knew when Undisputed Era's music hit, it was like it was time. Like
Undisputed Era's theme, it was good. Like it wasn't like too overly produced. Like all these, it was simple. It was like a heavy, just rock groove. Like kind of my like People's Court theme song. But and then it's like. And then when the song picks up, it's like you hear that background scream of the
yeah.
And I just imagine Kyle O'Reilly playing guitar on his title.
And I felt like it fit. Like it didn't matter how many people they added. Like when it was just the three of them, but then when they added Roderick Strong, I felt like that song fit all four of them. Yeah. They all had a spot in that entrance, and it fit them well.
And like there wasn't like a lot of lyrics to that song, so it was more just the instrumental part, and then it focused on the guys walking to the ring. It was the four of them, the faction being badasses walking to the ring. So you focus on them and not get caught up on the lyrics around you. Yeah. And then they timed it, coming down the ramp, and so when they get to on the apron and Adam Cole does the boom, and then they go in the ring and they all get in their spots. And then they all do the Adam Cole, baby. So the song fit perfectly for their entrance presentation. The new Adam Cole song, he still times it where he does the boom. But when he does the Adam Cole, baby, the crowd still pops for it, but it doesn't. The music doesn't fit with that. Like the Undisputed Era theme song fitted for it was timed perfectly for part of their presentation. So, but the match itself, like, don't get me wrong, like, it's just a damn theme song. Like, I'm still happy for Adam Cole. He's still a badass in the ring.
Yeah,
his match was great. Jungle Boy, that's a whole nother topic we could say for another time. I want to see him. He needs to do more mic work. Like, he's an amazing in-ring performer, but I feel like we don't know enough about him on the mic, like his character.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, other than like who his dad is and, you know, things like that, like he doesn't get enough time on the mic or even backstage segments. I feel like it's not enough.
Yeah. And then, Adam Cole wins. And then the Elite come out and they're all, doing their spiel. Bryan Danielson comes out, confronts him. I like how, was it Kenny Omega? The crowd was yelling, CM Punk, CM Punk.
Yeah.
And Kenny Omega's like, yeah, I've heard that a couple times, and like cuts them off and keeps rambling on, which is good. Just, you got to keep talking when the CM Punk chants start. And it's funny, those are going on, and CM Punk is there on the commentary table. Like, normally, fans do that to hijack a show. But, so yeah, Bryan Danielson just called Kenny Omega Kenny No Balls and wants a rematch. And then them and Jurassic Express, or he says, come out, guys. Yep. I just laughed. It's like, come on, guys. And they attack. And it's going to be a 4-on-4 match next week on Dynamite. So it's going to be awesome. And then next up was Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson taking on Dante Martin and Matt Seidel. Dude, Dante Martin, what a talent. Oof. Like, God, I can watch that guy wrestle all the time. I know I can be critical of like high flying matches because I think they go from one spot to the next and there's like not enough selling. But Dante Martin, though, I still love watching him. I was bummed him and Seidel, they had a couple big spots, but it was during picture in picture. Yeah. I was like, you gotta time that a little bit better, guys. I mean, they replayed it when they came back from commercial, but and Lee Johnson, that guy, his potential as well is, I'm really excited for him. Like, if he can maybe like a Scorpio Sky 2.0, I don't know. Like his potential is, I'm really excited for. But I don't know what you think of this match here. I mean, after the match is the more the talking point, but the match itself.
I thought the match itself was good. Dante Martin, I want to see a little more from him now. We all know he can fly. We all know that, what he does it well and probably better than anybody in that company, really. I mean, at such a young age, he has great athleticism. He knows what he's doing. He knows his spots. He has great balance, all of that. But now, for me personally, it's like, okay, like I want to see something different now from Dante. Like, I know he can do that stuff. It seems like it's just a highlight show. Whenever Dante Martin's out there now, it's like, all right, let's stand around. Let's make sure we're in our spots so Dante can hit his moonsault or he can do his spot. You know what I mean? I mean, even they had just showed the spot prior to the match, like right before the match started. They showed Dante Martin and Matt Seidel on Dark.
Yeah.
And then like he did the same spot he did in Dark on, I believe it was Cody, or he did the same spot. So it was like, oh, okay, it's a lot of the same stuff over and over. So it could get boring really quickly.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's how long is his brother out for? I mean, I
have no idea.
I feel kind of bad. Like his brother's like, Dante is like really shining on his own. And I mean, I don't want Top Flight, right? Yeah. I don't want
Flight.
They're so young and it's like, I want them to be a tag team still, but Dante Martin, like he looks like he can get a good singles run, but Top Flight, I mean, they're so young. They're like what, 20?
Yeah.
20.
Dante Martin's only 20.
So it's like, dude, imagine them in 5 years at just 25, how much better they're going to be. But it was interesting. Lee Johnson grabbed Cody, brought him to the corner, slapped him, made the tag in, and got the win for Team Cody or Team Nightmare Family.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. What do you think about that? And then Arn Anderson come in the ring, they cut a promo, or Tony Schiavone's interviewing them. Okay, we'll start with the Lee Johnsons and then we'll talk Arn Anderson. So Lee Johnson, tagging himself in. Do you think there's tension in the Nightmare family? Like maybe everyone around him is getting tired of Cody's ways? Is that what they're trying to set up here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to see that, or to think that after Lee Johnson basically saying, you know what, I've had enough. Let me put an end to this. Let's finish this match. It seems like Cody's dealing with a lot, and I don't think he may not be mentally there. At least that's what it seems like, the story they're trying to tell. Like, Cody's not mentally there. I think he's letting the fans get to him. Yeah. He's got a lot of doubts. He can't put Malachi Black away. He's worried about Arn Anderson, and he just had a baby, so I'm sure he's got a lot on his mind. Well,
also remember at the start of the match, Arn was talking to Cody and Lee, and I think wanted Lee to start, but Cody ran in and started the match, and Arn's like, "What the?" Like, miscommunication. Like, they're trying to set up that Cody, is not following the proper guidance or following along the Arn's coaching. So that's where the miscommunication's coming, which could lead to maybe a split.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Cody was getting booed.
Well, Arn even said that, you don't listen, and Lee does.
So I wonder, is this going to lead to a heel turn? So let's talk about Arn Anderson. He interrupts Cody, starts talking, and just says, like, Cody needs to be more of a killer, as far as, I'm paraphrasing, but like, when you see someone down, your opponent, you need to attack them, go for the win. Like with Malachi Black, like he was when Arn fell. So that was at Grand Slam, where Arn was trying to go around the ring post, and he fell, and that was on WrestleBotch and stuff, but he got back up, and then so they missed the original spot, and they had to redo it real quick. And then Malachi sent Cody into the ropes, knocked Arn off the ropes. That was the real spot that was supposed to happen. Cody was all concerned. Malachi attacked him for the win. So Arn was trying to say, like, don't worry about me. Go for the victory. And more or less told him, you need to stay focused and get the win. You're the type of guy, like, you pull up to I'm paraphrasing, a stoplight. Yep. Someone comes up to your car, opens the door, and says, "Get out of the car. I want your car." And you'd be like, "Oh, sure, go ahead, take it." Me, on the other hand, someone tried to do that to me, I'll take out my Glock, put it up against their head, and spill their brains,
spill their brains out, or something
all
like
over
that.
the road. And it's like, what the? Everyone was like, what is Arn Anderson talking about here? Is he admitting he carries a gun with him all the time? I mean, and the internet blew up. I mean, the memes, and they made a T-shirt, like, in the next 24 hours were hysterical.
I woke up and I was mad. I was like, I missed the memes. So many memes.
It was great. I mean, it was funny. I mean, Arn Anderson, obviously, from back in the day, he would cut some really cold, aggressive promos. So it was kind of cool hearing him talk like that again, I guess. But the fact he has a gun with him, it's like, I mean, it was hilarious. But at the same time, I get the point. He's trying to tell Cody, is like, you need to be more aggressive in the ring. Go for the victory. And then, he just said,
No, I was gonna say, Cody, be careful, because when Arn gets like that, you can never trust Arn Anderson. I put the clip up of I forget what it was, Bash the Beach 94, I think it was. It was him, and it was Arn Anderson and Dustin against Bunkhouse Bunk and what's the other guy's name? What's the guy's name? I forgot his name already.
Let's see, Bash at the Beach 90.
Was it Terry Funk?
No, it was that.
Got his name already.
Oh, it was Terry Funk.
Yeah, Terry Funk.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
That wasn't his original partner, though. Like, down the line, it was Bunkhouse Bunk and somebody else. But
so Terry Funk, Bunkhouse Buck defeated Dustin Rhodes, Arn Anderson, Colonel Robert Parker, and Min were out there. Okay, yeah. Okay, you're right.
And man, It was one of those things, and they were, leading it up all the way from Clash of Champions, where he tells Dustin, "I'll be your partner," and he turns on him just like that. If I'm Cody, I gotta watch my back now. I don't know. He's favoring Lee Johnson. I don't know.
So I wonder what's going to happen here. That's right. Bunkhouse Buck. He played Jack Swagger Sr.
Yeah.
I'm looking this up. Okay, here's the photo. Yeah, that's who. He had the jeans and the white long john shirt. That's right. Yep. I was still trying to remember him because you saw. I asked John LaRocca if he remembers that. And he's like, "Oh yeah." But he appeared in 2010 as Jack Swagger Sr. That's right. Okay, so anyway, it was just cool. Like, he takes Lee Johnson and they leave. So I was like, I wonder, is Cody going to turn heel here and be like just fed up with everyone like turning their back against him? Arn Anderson, the crowd, the Nightmare Family.
He should come out next week and tell the fans to stick it.
I mean, when he eventually went Crow Sting, right? Yeah. It's interesting. Like, I wonder, and we were talking with Jimbo about this a couple weeks ago at Stockton. Mm-hmm. Maybe Cody wasn't the intention, but now he's like, he can easily take all these moments from the last few months and use it to his storyline. You know what I mean? To like be like, look, I did this, and this, and you guys turned on me here. Yep. So maybe it wasn't intentional. Like he really wanted to do all these different story beats, but now he didn't get the crowd reaction that he wanted. He can now turn it and use it as a new storyline of turning heel here. So,
or what he could do is, and I don't know how deep they would go, but I threw this idea out on Within the Ropes.
Yeah.
I said maybe Cody could, beat up the whole entire Nightmare Family and join the Elite. At least he'd know he'd get cheered. I mean, the Elite are bad guys, but they still get cheered. They still get like a real positive. And I don't think Cody would do that. I mean, even with the show now too, it's like I don't think he'd have any interest in going. I don't know, heel at least that way.
And I mean, their real life relationship with the guys in the Elite, like, I don't know if he would do that. I mean, it would be cool. It'd be kind of a good callback to the Bullet Club from a few years ago, 4 years ago, with all of them. Even though, I think you said the Elite now is just the NWO.
It's just the NWO, yeah.
I mean, how big it is. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. Like the NWO, looking back on, I mean, maybe that's
Adam Cole is Randy Savage, and he's going to snap one day, and he's going to fight Kenny Omega for that championship.
Well, okay, jumping ahead, I think we talked about, was it last time? I mean, I would not be surprised if Adam Cole can get Undisputed Era, all four members in AEW, and he goes up against the Elite.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like the pieces are kind of there. So Adam Cole's there. Bobby Fish, while I don't think he's officially signed with MLW. He's at least appearing on their next set of taping, but it was already announced, spoiler, he's going to be taking on Sammy Guevara next week for the television title, or TNT title.
It sounds so much better television, doesn't it?
It sounds more prestige.
Yeah.
But so Bobby Fish is now working with AEW, and he's not officially signed. So that's half of Undisputed Era. Looking over at NXT, I don't know what's going to happen with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, their future. Roderick Strong, I know, didn't he recently re-sign? He's the current Cruiserweight champion, but, sometimes people like that can get, released or whatever. But anyway, I don't know. We'll see what happens long term. But it would be kind of cool if... I think Adam Cole... he is destined to be a world champion for AEW, but how is that going to work with the let's say the chemistry or the relationship with the Elite? Kenny Omega is the top dog, but Adam Cole, just as popular, probably wants to aspire to be a world champion. So would that create tension? And then the Young Bucks, whose side do they take? Very similar like the Hangman situation.
Yeah.
Does Adam Cole leave the group and then start his own faction? And he's like, I got some friends you guys remember, and like can re-debut the Undisputed Era there. I don't know. Like, there's so many different stories they can do long term.
They could be Elite, Red, and Black.
There you go. Adam Cole starts the Wolfpack. The Undisputed Era is the Wolfpack in AEW.
Or no, wait. They'll be the Elite, and then Adam Cole will be the Era.
I was going to say the Era, the Elite and the Era. Oh my God. But I'm saying, like, there's a possibility. But yeah, I could see he will branch off and create his own faction with that. So anyway, we could talk more about that as time goes on. I mean, we'll see what happens with this week on Dynamite. Yeah. John Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin defeated Bear Country with Anthony Green. Anthony Green, that was the guy that was just on
August Gray.
August Gray, yeah, 205 Live. Mm-hmm. Dude, Bear Country, I like that. They're big hosses. I like them
too. I like them too.
So anyway, it was just cool. Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin get the win. Good for them. Big old 16-person match. Orange Cassidy, Dark Order taking on the Hardy Family Office. That was just chaotic, dude. That was just all over the place.
All over the place. It was 16 men. Oh.
The big thing, I mean, so the story was, we know Dark Order's been kind of like a little civil war. Everyone's like mad at each other. I think a lot of people thought, since this show took place in Rochester, New York, Brody Lee's hometown, something big was going to happen here. Like, a lot of people were assuming maybe Bray Wyatt will debut when he become the new leader of the Dark Order and get everyone back on the same page, reunite the team. Not the case. Bray Wyatt, his contract or his 90-day non-compete is not up yet. Instead, what we got, Amanda Huber, right? It was
Huber. Yep.
Huber. And -1, Brody Lee's son, that's Brody Lee's wife. They come out, -1, Brody Lee Jr. throws the papers. Just like his dad on Being the Elite and stuff, and Dynamite. And they tell them, like, you guys need to get back together, because Uno and the other guys were walking up the ramp, Colt Cabana, and they went back in the ring. They reunited, or got back on the same page, won the match, all hugged it out.
They all hit their finishers.
Oh my God, everyone, you get a finish. Like, everyone around the ring. Nice moment for Dark Order. So they get the win in Rochester for Brody Lee, his memory, hold his son up. Amanda comes in the ring. It was a feel-good moment. So
yeah, definitely.
I guess the storyline's done as far as them being at odds with one another. Now, granted, who's going to be the leader, though? I don't know. I mean, we don't know what's next for Dark Order, if they're going to get a leader or not. So, I don't know. We'll see. Leo Rush, they showed a promo for him. I guess he's back with AEW, so he's out of retirement for the 20th time now.
Yep, pretty much.
We'll see with that.
Leo's all elite.
I mean, that's good. I mean, he's a talented dude. I mean, but it's just like, he has more farewell tours than like Kiss. I mean, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, he's had a lot going on over the last few years. He was done, and he's back, and he's done, and injured. And he's back, you know.
Anyway, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky cut this promo with Dan Lambert. What do you think of Dan Lambert, though? Are you?
I think it's time to cut the cord on Dan Lambert.
It's like, okay, we get it.
I think what happened last week, right, with the UFC fighters and whatnot, like, when that happened, that should have been it. Dan Lambert wins or whatever, or something, or at least have him be less of a mouthpiece to two guys who don't need a mouthpiece.
Yeah, like, that's my thing. Is like, both these guys can talk, especially Ethan Page talking about he has the tightest titties or whatever he said. Like, what the hell? But no, Ethan Page is an amazing talker. Yeah. That's why, like, his time in Impact, he cuts amazing promos. Yeah. And when he joined AEW, I was like, dude, he could be a top heel. He could be like MJF quality heel.
Yep.
So I was like, they don't need Dan Lambert to talk for them. So,
this It's very Vince McMahon-esque, the booking decision and how they're handling Dan Lambert. Like Vince McMahon would do that. Like if he had a guy who would just come out and just be obnoxious like that every single week, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It doesn't. Well, I'm curious as to why Tony Khan would think that would be like the best decision. Or,
where's this going to? It's like you're having this guy who has MMA background leading these two guys who are badasses on their own. I don't know. I'm just kind of confused by the whole thing. And it's like, they don't need him. They're amazing talkers on their own. So anyway, Penelope Ford, Bunny take on Anna Jay and Tay Conti. Anna Jay and Tay Conti get the win. They got like the same gear now. So it's like, okay. Another reason why they need tag titles for the women's division.
Yep.
MJF came out, cut a promo talking about the four pillars: him, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin. All right, yeah, those are the four young guys AEW started out with.
Yep.
And then Darby Allin comes out, and it looks like that's gonna be MJF's next feud is gonna be with Darby Allin. We can talk more of that, maybe more about next episode, see how that goes, which I'm excited for. It's like, okay, MJF needs a fresh feud now. Just someone to focus on. The uncle thing, I forgot about that, but that's partly why Darby Allin paints half his face black and white, because after losing his uncle, he thought like part of himself died. So that I forgot about that. I had to look that up about that story. And then main event time, Miro versus Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship. Fun match, man. That was...
Yeah.
Shocker, though. Sammy Guevara picks up the victory, and he's the new TNT champion. I like the finish, though. Miro was ripping off all the
turnbuckle pads.
And to call back to when he beat Eddie Kingston at All Out.
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara took advantage, kicked him, and he hit his head on the turnbuckle, and then he hit the oh my god, he hit, was that like his version of go to sleep, the GTS or
GTH?
What's the H stand for?
I'm guessing here, but maybe go to hell. I don't know.
Okay, so it was cool because Fuego del Sol came in and tried to stop Miro, but Miro knocked Fuego off the apron. And then Sammy got in the ring for the comeback, so hit his head on the turnbuckle. He did a tornado DDT, which Fuego del Sol is known for, so tribute to his best friend. Hit the GTH, and then the 630 senton and pin Miro. So 3 big spots right there, or 4, I should say. So yeah, he wins. He's the new TNT champion. First championship win for himself. Yeah. Congrats. I'm a little shocked. I'm bummed. Yep. I like Miro as the TNT champion. I didn't think he was going to lose it here.
Yeah, me too.
But maybe because it's Rochester and Brody Lee, was a TNT champion, they want to do something big with the title in his hometown.
Yeah.
Maybe because Kenny Omega is going to be champion still for a long time. The TNT title is the title they can use to kind of bounce from person to person on a more regular basis. Shorter title reign, so that way there can be more dramatic title changes on TV now, I guess. But I feel bad for Miro. It's like, I don't want him to lose the title.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of felt like, how could Lance Archer not beat him? Eddie Kingston couldn't beat him. But and that's not to discredit Sammy and his abilities and his capabilities of being able to beat someone like Miro. But it was just like, wow, like that was just suddenly, it was, you hate to see it end that way.
Yeah.
That's almost like, I mean, everyone on the internet was sort of pushing for Finn Balor to go over Roman, but that would be like if Finn was able to beat Roman. It's just like, I'd feel the same. I'd feel the same way if that happened. Like, okay, that's cool, but whoa, like what a way to stop someone who was like white hot on a roll, as champion. So but it was a good match. Good moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited to see everyone came out in the ring celebrate. I'm excited to see what Sammy Guevara do now as champion.
He had his Lex Luger moment.
and then it's going to be interesting because Inner Circle, I mean, I know he had the vest on, the Inner Circle vest, but it's kind of like he's on his own now. Inner Circle is kind of quietly dissolved for the time being. I mean, which is fine. Like I talked about this before. Factions, I think, can go their separate ways without having like a big breakup where someone turns on the other. It's just, okay, it's like, all right, we did our time together. We're kind of growing apart right now in different directions. We're all cool with each other, but we're all going to do our separate things right now. And that's kind of looks like what the Inner Circle's doing, which is fine. So Sammy Guevara have his own story right now. So, but solid episode of Dynamite. Looking forward to this week's episode. They got the anniversary show coming up as well. So, actually, it's the anniversary show. Let's see.
They got the big ladder match on there.
I guess I got to look it up. But yeah, so, hey man, a lot of stuff to look forward to. The AEW as always. So it's good times, man. It's just the buzz, all that stuff. So, all right, Brian, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
You guys can find me at Brian Tronic. You guys can follow my show at Within the Ropes on Twitter and Instagram as well. WithinTheRopesPodcast.com. That's where you can find everything.
Love it. I like it. One-stop shopping. Yes. I need your help. I want to make that domain for In The Kliq as well. I need help doing that. You gotta come over and figure all this stuff out.
Yes.
So, I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey 83, at In The Kliq on social media as well to follow the show. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, especially on YouTube. Trying to just stay on top of things with YouTube. Watch our videos, leave a comment, leave a big thumbs up. That helps with all the algorithm stuff. In the Kliq at gmail.com, link in bio to get the merch, all that good stuff. We appreciate you guys always for the continuous support. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.